Stop for a moment. Don't scroll. Don't rush. If you feel like your life has been pushed into darkness. If your dreams feel buried. If the people you trusted became the ones who hurt you. This story is for you. This is not just history. This is the story of Joseph. A man betrayed by his own brothers. Sold as a slave. Forgotten in prison. Yet lifted by God to save a nation. And before this story ends, you may realize God is still writing. Long before Joseph stood in a palace, he lived in the land of Canaan. Jacob had 12 sons. But one held a special place in his heart. Joseph. He was born to Rachel, the woman Jacob loved most. And everyone could see it. Jacob gave Joseph a richly colored robe. Not just clothing. A symbol of favor. A mark of destiny. But favor misunderstood often becomes fuel for jealousy. And Joseph's brothers watched, their hearts quietly hardening. One night, Joseph dreamed. They were binding sheaves in the field. Suddenly, his sheaf stood upright. And the others bowed. Joseph shared the dream. He didn't know better. But dreams from God often bring fire before fulfillment. Then came another dream. The sun. The moon. 11 stars. All bowing. Even Jacob paused. But he kept these words in his heart. Because this wasn't imagination. One ordinary day became a turning point. Joseph approached his brothers. And they seized him. They stripped the robe. They silenced his cries. And they threw him into a pit. 17 years old. Alone. In darkness. But hear this clearly. God was still present in the pit. A caravan passed by. Ishmaelite traders. 20 pieces of silver. A human life reduced to currency. The brothers thought the story was over. God said, "This is only the beginning." A foreign land. A slave's life. Joseph was bought by Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh. And something unusual happened. Everything Joseph touched prospered. Not because of skill alone, but because the Lord was with him. Potiphar's wife noticed him. Temptation came. Opportunity followed. But Joseph said, "How could I do this great evil? And sin against God?" He chose integrity over comfort. And integrity cost him everything. Chains. Cold stone. Silence. From manager to inmate overnight. But prison did not erase God's presence. Sometimes God trains kings. In places that look like. 2 prisoners arrived. 2 troubling dreams. Joseph listened. Interpretations belong to God, he said. And everything happened exactly as foretold. But Joseph was forgotten. 2 years passed. Waiting hurts more than suffering. One night, Pharaoh awoke in fear. Cows. Grain. Famine. No one could explain. Then suddenly, a name surfaced. Joseph. Joseph stood before Pharaoh. "I cannot," he said. "But God will give the answer." 7 years of abundance. 7 years of famine. Wisdom spoken with humility. And history. The ring. The robe. The chain. Pharaoh declared, "Only the throne will be greater than you." The pit did not win. The prison did not define. Joseph was given a wife. Her name was Asenath. An Egyptian woman. A different culture. A divine purpose. This marriage was not accident. It was. 2 sons were born. Manasseh. God made me forget my suffering. Ephraim. God made me fruitful in the land of affliction. Pain had produced purpose. The famine came. Nations trembled. But Egypt stood prepared. Because one man had listened to. Joseph's brothers arrived. They bowed. They didn't recognize him. But Joseph recognized destiny. The dreams were alive. Joseph could no longer contain himself. I am Joseph. Tears fell. And forgiveness rewrote the past. You meant it for evil, he said. But God meant it for good. Jacob arrived. Father and son embraced. Years of sorrow melted in one moment. God restores what time steals. Hands crossed. Future spoken. God's covenant moved forward. Even through unexpected paths. Sparkles Scene 22, Final Image. Joseph stands overlooking Egypt. Sunrise. Peace. From pit to purpose. Bell final message, slow, gentle. If you're in the pit, it's not the end. If you're waiting, you're not forgotten. God never wastes pain. He turns it into preparation. Joseph's story proves this. The same God who allowed the pit also designed the palace.